G'day, I'm Paul. So BMW has just rolled out a brand new 5 Series and they've actually flown one to Australia. This is a pre-production car. So today I'm going to run you through some of the cool new things that are coming to 5 Series and this in particular, which is the top spec electric version. It's called the i5 M60, which I'm pretty excited about. Now, this is going to be launching in Australia in Q4 this year, so it's still a little while away, but this will give us a bit of a sneak peek and to see exactly what's going on underneath the skin there. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure you do. Make sure you hit the bell icon as well, because that's going to tell you every single time you get to have a look at one of these pre-production cars. Okay, before we have a look at some of these design elements, let me run you through the sizing. So it's longer, wider, taller. It's on a longer wheelbase as well. It's kind of similar to what they've done with the 7 Series. They've just supersized it and bridged the gap between sedan and SUV. And I kind of like that because sedans were always a little bit too small, whereas now it's getting to the size where it really needs to be if you don't want to have an SUV. Also, I love what they've done here with the light game. It is so cool. So you've got these LED rings around the kidney grille. Then in addition to that, you have a new daytime running light and a new sequence as well. So when you do unlock the car, this all lights up and it gives you that new signature over on the headlights as well. So I think they've done a really good job there in terms of just giving this a really unique appearance. You'll know that this is the new 5 Series out on the road. On the design front, I like here with the bonnet how they've sculpted that there, so the BMW logo just sits a little recess there to the level of the bonnet. And the vehicle that you're looking at here is the i5, which is the electric one. There are 2 versions of the i5 coming to Australia. They have the eDrive 40, which is a rear-wheel drive electric, and then this one here, which is the M60 xDrive, which is the full-fat M version, all-wheel drive. They're also going to do an internal combustion version for Australia in the 520i. That'll be rear-wheel drive with a mild hybrid system. With the electric versions, you can see that's all closed over because most of the cooling requirements are down below here. So it kind of gives it a nice, neat look up the front there. No ridiculous giant grille here either. It's just all sort of nicely contained, which is good. Over on the headlights, full LED headlights with a matrix LED for the high beam as well. Let's jump over to the wheels. I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so depending on which 5 Series model you choose, you get to pick a variety of different wheel sizes. Here on the M60, the 20-inch wheel is standard. You can go up to 21 inches as well if you want to. Keep in mind though, the 21 will actually reduce the driving range. I'll run you through some of those specs in a second. Comes standard with the red brakes here. You can go for a blue option if you want. Also, I like this design. So you've got the piano black finish there, and then you've got these sections on the inside for a little bit of aero as well, and then the blue ring around the BMW center cap there, which is a pretty cool setup. So this is an e-primacy tyre. So I'll be keen to see how this actually goes because this thing has a lot of punch and I don't know whether an eco tyre is going to be suitable for it. So we'll see what sort of tyres these are actually delivered with when it finally does come to Australia. M badge up the top here as well. I thought it was quite interesting under the bonnet too. It has a giant sort of engine cover. There is no storage there, but there are a lot of components, including some vibration isolation for the air conditioning condenser as well. So it is a pretty cool sort of setup there under the bonnet. Now, check this out as well. You actually get like a proper M mirror here too with that aero sculpting in there. Indicator built into the wing mirror there, camera on the side. New door handles, have a look at this. That sits flush with the body. These, I think we saw this recently on the 7 Series as well, so it's quite a nice setup. Do keep in mind though, like we mentioned in the iX video, it is a good spot for spiders to hide if you live in a spidery type of place. Glass roof up the top here. They said that the opening here is 90% bigger than the previous generation of 5 Series. So that takes up pretty much that entire roof there, which I quite like the look of. Little 5 on the back there. And then have a look at this. Come and I'll show you the charging options. Actually, before I mention charging, Igor, our cameraman, drives an M3. That has never been to the track, but he told me I need to refer to this as the Hofmeister kink because he was very insulted. So this is where you charge your i5. You have both DC and AC charging. AC charging comes in the form of 3-phase up to 22 kilowatts, and then DC charging will work it up to 205 kilowatts. The numbers are okay, but some of the competitors in this segment are now using 800 volt architecture that allows them to charge a little bit faster. So that is worth keeping in mind. Battery size here is usable around 80 kilowatt hours, and that is regardless of whether you go for the eDrive 40 or the M60. It gives you a driving range of about 500 kilometers. This is new as well, a button here to release the charging cable. One of the things that frustrates me the most when it comes to these EVs, and it's not just BMW, but if you do want to release the charging cable, you need to do a whole bunch of things to get it to release. Whereas here, I can just walk up, press that, out it comes, and away we go. Come and have a look at the back of the car. Okay, so this is the rear of the 5 Series. I quite like the way this looks. So full LED tail lights. They sort of whip around the side there and come up a little bit before tapering down towards the edge there. This is also a little bit different too. Typically with sedans, you see that the bottom section might be a different color, but it sort of stays body colored up the top here. I've actually brought that black section all the way up just to give this a little bit of differentiation at the rear. And because this is an EV, they want to reduce as much drag as humanly possible. Beneath the body there, you actually have a fully flat floor where the battery packs are, but then you have a diffuser at the rear. So they're adding all of these elements in to make sure that this can be as efficient as possible, and that translates through to the internal combustion versions as well that have a cover at the bottom there too. BMW logo there, a reverse camera with a washer built into their M60 badge. I quite like this black boot lip spoiler there as well. It looks sort of really nice here against this red color as well, which is new to the 5 Series. Let's have a little look inside the boot. So how much cargo space have you got? Well, a little over 500 litres if you go for the internal combustion models. If you go for the electric ones, 490 litres, but it's pretty sort of deep space in there, which is good. And you have a little bit of storage underfloor here for things like your charging cable. Hooks up the top here for your shopping as well. You can then drop your second row just by pulling these levers here as well, which gives you a little bit more access there for longer items. So we are inside the 5 Series now. Let's start off with just some of these design elements. Just like we saw in the new 7 Series, they've got these glass panels that actually have LED lights that surround them, and they kind of go around the driver here and to the front of the cabin. These look sensational. And the cool thing is when you do change your drive modes, for example, what it actually does is it lights it all up in different colors. Have a look at this. If I go into efficient mode, look at that, just chasing that light all the way down the side of the car. It is so cool that they have played with LEDs here, just like they have at the front. Also, in addition to that, you have touch-sensitive controls for your climate. So you can open and close vents just by running your finger across those. And then you have these little things down here as well to adjust the direction of those vents too. So they really are sort of being quite creative with that. In addition to that, they have moved to OS 8.5. So there are just a few small changes here in terms of the way this operates. And just as an example, on your home screen, this is a pre-production car, so it doesn't have the map display, but that is where the map would typically be. All of your menus are now in here, so you can swipe up and down, and depending on what the menu is, you can go left and right within those as well. Also different now as well, which is a big improvement, is your climate control. So in addition to having temperature changing here, you can now also turn your heated seats, cooled seats on and off there without having to dive through several different menus. So all of that functionality is down the bottom there, so I really like that. On the design front, carbon along here, you've got those glass elements that I mentioned, glass here in the center as well, and this whole unit here just looks really high-end and premium. I'll be interested to see what it looks like on the base models that aren't sort of super expensive, but this all looks really nice, and limited use of piano black, which is excellent news. Another fascinating thing they've done here as well, which I think is a really clever innovation, with the wireless phone charger. Normally when you have your phone on there for an extended period, it gets really hot, and then it'll either stop charging, or when you put it in your pocket, it'll like burn a hole in your pants. Well, here there's actually small vents that extract that heat and then run a bit of cool air behind your phone, and it means that it can actually cool down while it's charging, which I think is great. In addition to that OS 8.5, you're getting this curved display here, which we love. So it's both a touchscreen and can also be driven through the iDrive controller. 15 inches on this side, 12.3 inches here ahead of the driver. New steering wheel as well with a flat bottom there. Simplified control, so you can just flick through a couple of those menus just using these. These also light up as well to give you warnings while you're driving. So for example, if you're veering out of your lane or it wants you to grab your steering wheel, it will light these things up. This lever just here gives you a little bit of boost. So if you pull that, you get extra acceleration, which I think is kind of fun, like a KERS mode or something like that. And then in addition to that, the M60 also gets this red center strap here as well, just in case you spontaneously decide to do some drifting. While you do have a 12-speaker sound system that's standard, you can upgrade to this optional 18-speaker Bowers and Wilkins sound system. Even has these metal covers over the speakers too, which I think is a very classy setup. How about this one too? If you do want to play games while you're waiting for the car to charge, they have air console, so that allows you to connect with the car using your phone. This is your central gaming screen, but then you use your phone as a controller. You can have 2 players doing that while your vehicle is charging, which I think is a pretty clever setup. And then in addition to that, similar to what Hyundai and Kia does, actually have Happy Kids mode. So when you do activate that, you can tell the vehicle what to do, so you can enable ambient lighting, do not disturb for your phone, have speakers only at the front. It can also increase the temperature to help the kids fall asleep. Also runs a camera inside the cabin as well, which I reckon is great. It means you can have a look at the kids in the back seat and make sure that they're very well behaved. Now, before we jump into the back, I want to run you through some of the performance specs. So the entry-level i5 eDrive 40 will do 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, and that has 250 kilowatts of power. When you step up to the M60, though, that is when it gets a little bit crazy. It's just under 450 kilowatts of power, and it'll do 0 to 100 in under 4 seconds. So it's pretty much M550 in terms of pace. I just think that is insane. If you go for the internal combustion option here for Australia, which is the 520i, that'll do 0 to 100 in around 7.5 seconds. Okay, second row time. So yes, longer wheelbase means I have more knee room. Toe room isn't very good. It's kind of cramped under there. Seems to be the case with a lot of EVs because of the batteries, but headroom is pretty good here. So this definitely feels like a previous generation 7 Series in terms of space, which is interesting. Down the bottom here, I love this. You've got a new capacitive touch display for your climate controls and also the seat heating. So nice innovative thing that looks just a little bit different to everything else you see out there at the moment. USB-C charging down here, air vents, USB-C charging up the top here as well. Center armrest here with a couple of cup holders. Got all your ISOFIX points and that kind of stuff. So that has been your first look at the new BMW 5 Series. I'm quite excited to drive this, the M60. It should be good fun, and I'm very excited to see whether they continue with a big old V8 under the bonnet here for the M5, because that will be very exciting as well. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you do have any questions about the new 5 Series, let me know in the comments section below. It'll go on sale in Australia later this year, and I'm excited to have a bit of a spin. So thank you for watching, and until next time, take it easy.